Your project report will go into Turnitin account. I need Word file because if there's any minor, I can correct it and then make the percentage lesser. That is one advantage. Another thing, if you submit in PDF, the diagrams are not clear, right? Sometimes I cannot view the diagram clearly. If you submit the original file, it's good. And then printing also easy for me. Okay, I can if there's any samples required, easy for printing and colors, the charts, everything will be okay. So please submit the original file if it is a Excel or Word or the image. Please submit the original file into Turnitin. I will download from there for marking. Only for report. For presentation slide, you can use the link that I already post in the website. I share and show you if you are not clear. It's better I show here.
Doctor.
Here, this tab. You may use this tab, share and show you. You may have to use this tab for submission of your presentation slide. And there is also a deadline. Please follow the deadline. Follow the deadline. Yeah.
See your screen.
Yeah, this one.
Now it starts showing just now.
Yeah, just opening it. Right. This is the tab you have to use for your presentation slide. All right. Use less number of slides and don't put too many. You are given 3 minutes means literally speaking 3 slides are good enough already. If you want, you may go up to maximum 7 to 10. Don't put so many things inside. Just 3 to 10 is very good enough already, right? Please submit those salient slide, important slides, and then submit through this. One project, one PDF, one PowerPoint. Like 5 people are there, 15 slides can be okay. Very good already. You share, and you have to submit your slide before. I'm trying to do this way. I open the slide, then you start presenting. Will that work? You want to share the slide? So sharing another, you will take time, and there will be a loss of time in between. What do you think? Can you suggest me?
Do the way you think it's correct, like because you know better.
Because I open the slide and then you can go through that and present it one after another. Because it's a common platform where everyone is there. Otherwise, I have to ask, Arkham coming, Wong coming, or she. They will try. Sharing and share will take few minutes already. That's why please finalize your slide. I don't want decoration. You see the criteria there. I'm not asking for decoration. The flow, logical, and then the important points that you have included in the report should be there. That's it. Follow the criteria. I never said the decoration or fonts but must be legible. That is important. So do consistent in the font, consistent in the vocabulary should be correct. These things are very expected normally. Other than that, just put it in the slides, submit. I will open the slide and go one by one, group by group. We are planning to do sharing because we have less number of hours and those things. If I can do, I do all the presentation. Otherwise, I will share with Ayaben at the end if there is anything. Okay, that's thing. So prepare your slides and post it in the tab there so that I can open the slides for you during your presentation. I try to send the schedule. Hope you already updated the project schedule at the file section. You have to update it. Do you know that? I shared that also. Better you know. Now you know how to present your, submit your presentation slides. A report should come through Turnitin. Correct. And then file. Is there any question on the report submission? I've already updated. Don't disturb any other things. Just write your group number. There is title change, people change, number change, and do it. Otherwise, don't disturb it. Okay. This file I share. It's already shared now. Let me share again. All of you update this file. All right. I don't want to copy this link. Otherwise, too many links. You will be getting confused. So this one is available at the file section. I go back and show you. Just take from here, from your class team, go to files, class material. Under class material, you have a project. All of you, all 141 students must update your record here. If your name is not here, you will not get the slot for your presentation. Either individual or group, your name should be here. I follow
Excuse me,
exactly this. Yes,
can you just scroll at the bottom, just at the bottom of this file?
one moment. Bottommost.
Like just the end, like yeah, okay.
All
Thanks.
groups are here. I remember one after another you are joining lately. I don't, let me recall the name. So have you all joined already? Latecomers already here? Even after the deadline also you join? I didn't, what's his name? Let me recall. All have joined, right? Please check your name. It is having how much percentage of mark presentation? 10%, I think. It's 10%. Please update it and don't miss attend all the presentation. What is this incomplete? Huh? Who is this gentleman? Who is this? I don't know. It's incomplete. Huh? I just highlight.
Let's scroll a bit. Yeah, it's
Who is this gentleman? Space X space shoot. Who is the gentleman? 017 number. Fill up or remove it. If you have already filled up somewhere else, please remove it. Don't keep any redundant data, hanging data, or duplicating data. Avoid all these things. Help me, right? Otherwise, I'll spend a whole day. No, or normally I'm going to spend half a day for settling these issues. At least half a day, all people, minimum half a day to settle this. But you don't drag it to a day. So please update this record right now. And then any other question? Somebody ask. This is one thing. Presentation is clear, project clear. Coming to the class. Let me share the class. So I asked question, Miss Howard, submit data, charts, images, internet. It's one report, right? I think it is a one report. It is having the written matter and the what images you are going to put? What
Ma'am,
charts?
like a data like in inside of the appendix, you know, like the the data and images of the report and
The point you raise, come on, I will explain now. Everyone, please listen carefully. Do not copy any chapter, any pages, any images as it is and put in your uh, report. Not inside the report or up or in appendix. No need at all. You can take the data information, cite the source inside your content. The secondary data has been obtained from, collected from, generated from, right, or studied from, so on. So give the citation inside. Like if you are taking from publication from Tae Bung Hong, he has published in 2021. You are taking his data. Tae Boon, comma 2021, and then the detail of the things will go into references. You must cite in a bracket Tae Boon, comma 2021. Put it there where you in the content, and then go to reference. Give the complete information about the authors, right? Authors, all the authors are one author, two author. Title, there's a format, reference format, right? You can follow any one format. APA, I don't know what format I have given in your report, or be consistent. Either use APA, MLA, Harvard. Just use the same format all through the references. Put it there, enough. I don't want the copy paste of others in your report. This is your report. Report done by Oshi, Lim Yoon, Fung Kar. These are all your report, your work, right? And
And Miss, what about word count? Like, is there any word count, word limit?
I have given pages, right? On single line. Hmm. I should not give word. I should not give word because it is up to you. You want to accommodate more of pictorial format and then discuss. It is open-ended question, so I cannot limit by word. But pages are there. Line page spacing is there. With that, you can cover these 2 pages. Either you cover by full words and then text material, and then your prepared charts are there in your appendices, or otherwise you can include inside the 2 pages itself. As long as you are fulfilling your objectives, it is fine. Okay.
Thank you, Miss.
And then this question many people raised it. I don't need any. If you have prepared your chart, taken, I have seen few people ask and they will come out with a very nice graph. It should be like this. Because his objective, Thebun, or not Thebun, Sashindra, who was published in 2021 in January, need not be the same objective of Wang Zimi now, isn't it? It may be a different objective. She or he may have their own objective that is indifferent from others. That is why you do the project. If it is the same objective, why do you do the project? Okay, every project has its own uniqueness. You already studied. Create a uniqueness, extend the work, modify the work, improve the last work, and take data, cite them properly, honor their data, right? You have to, citation is important to honor their work. And then you are free from copyright issue or any other plagiarism. You are doing your own reporting. Okay, any question? Now, I repeat the question. If you want, I take only the risk analysis today. I'll leave you some time for doing your project and for project discussion in the class tower. I will be available online today for your discussion. We will continue with the next topic on Thursday. That allowance I'm giving, you can make use of this hour for your project discussion. After I finish this risk analysis, I may go for half an hour or less, and then you can continue doing your project. All the time given is to accomplish your meetings, completion of the report,
Excuse me, miss.
submit on 13 without fail. What? Mm.
Miss, I joined this subject very late, so I still couldn't find a group.
What are you doing? I don't know what I suggested to you at that time. Hold on, I will talk to you in a while or end of this meeting. Okay, hold on. Next, any other? I think I suggested some information that time. I have to refer and then talk to you. Any other question?
Doctor,
Hmm.
can I, for the 13, right, it's only one time submission or we can just submit multiple times to check the plagiarism?
You can submit any number of time, but don't remove file after 13. The file that is there on 13, right, up to 13 of July, you can keep submitting, remove, delete, you can do anything. I will not go into at all until 13. After 13 only I will go and download your files. So you can submit any
Oh,
number of.
so we just leave our final copy there, like that's considered as a submission, right?
Yes, you can
Okay.
put version 1, v1, v2, v3, like that. You can do trial and error. I request you, all of you, please do use my account only. Don't put anywhere else. Again, you have to search for plagiarism issues of having submitted in other sites and other things. Don't worry. Even if it is 100% plagiarism, you please put in the same website that I have given. Remove it, delete, and then resubmit. It's okay, because I said that my setting is such a way that you can do many submission and the original will be erased or overwritten. If the setting in the other source is good, you are safe. Otherwise, you'll have a duplicate. You will be duplicating your report, and another type of plagiarism you will encounter. Better use the account I have given. You can submit any number of times. The final submission, please leave it before 13. Don't submit on 14. You must submit the final version on 13 Tuesday next week. What? Any more question? Somebody asked me to check on all that part. I will do after this class. Anybody wants a discussion, appointment, in group or individual, please put in the chat box. Group 3 or number, you put the number or name, you just put the name. Phone and team wants to have a meeting with you, want to check this. Just put in the chat box. I will call one by one. After two meetings, meetings are, two appointments are confirmed today. After those two group, all very short only. Okay, I don't extend too much because I have to address everyone. Afterwards, I will call you. Please put in the chat box if you need any meeting today after this class. If you don't have class, that is also important. Don't cancel that class and do this saying that I have to do project. No. If you have class, you must leave at 3:30. If not, you can ask me. Just put in the chat box. If you have class, finish class and then ask me. Okay, I'm whole day, I'm free. Free means I can give you appointment this whole day. Okay, right. Let me continue with the class. Any more question? Okay.
Miss, thank you. Not for me.
Okay. Gentlemen, I will let come on. Johar Abbas, I will talk to you later. Give me some few minutes. Right. Okay, let's go through it quickly. And these chapter 1, 2, 3, 2 until 2 IR Ben already covered. Chapter 3 we started engineering design. Whatever the title I'm giving you slides, I'm giving you please thorough of and read related matters, information for your exam and assessments. Then it is sufficient enough. Engineering design, under engineering design, made it all these subheadings, right? How do you analyze problem? How do you conduct the test, evaluation, and then criteria of the project, characteristics of the project, all these things we did. And then the second topic is on risk management, risk and liability, product liability, reliability. I don't know why liability, product reliability. Whenever you say risk, you must be tagged with reliability. 1 minus risk is a reliability. Vice versa, 1 minus reliability is a risk, right? So this part is under 3, you do three topics: engineering design, project management, and risk analysis, risk management. So be thorough of these 3 topics under this chapter 3. Chapter 4 Ayaben has covered. Chapter 5 is only for your reading. I give you the slide, you just read it. I'm not testing on this, okay? Note this point, don't spend time on this. This is only for your reading. And this one I will cover next week. Yeah, sociological environmental implications. What are the developments that has caused the technological development IR 1 to IR 4 until today? How the technology has impacted the environment. That part is pending. I have to cover. Sustainability already covered. I made it in very generic terms, general way, but specific UNDP you are addressing already in the project. I thought of having class, but you are almost coming to the end of the project, not necessary to add another type of procedure for you. Better let it be like this. Follow only for the assessment part, exam part of point of view, you please cover this only. It is not UNDP covering, okay? Your exam point of view, you don't need to include any UNDP related things. That is covered only in your project. For sustainability, you just go through the slides, the topics relevant to the topics covered in the slides, study that part. That is the scope of the sustainability coverage under this module. We cannot cover the entire thing, that's why I'm repeatedly saying the scope is within what I covered in the slides. And then this part, this is also for reading. Team operation also I'm not going to assess, it's for your reading. I post the slides, you just keep it, and these are all the skills that you have to remember and apply in your projects. IR has covered already this part, standards also covered. That's all, right? So pending is only this topic, environmental implication 6, number 6, social and environmental implications technology due to technology development. This part I have to cover. I will cover in 2 classes, not more than that. I can cover in 2 classes. Right. Now continue with the risk analysis. Okay, we stopped here. Let me share again. I will leave you quickly so that you can have time for your project work. Don't worry. Okay, Let's continue with this part, right? There are the cycles that you can have. We have started with risk management cycle, right? Risk management is the name given to a logical and systematic method of identifying, analyzing, treating, and monitoring the risk involved in any activity or process. Like you do other project management, risk management is also one of the things that needs to be identified, analyzed, treated, right? Some quantification, and then implement and monitor, right? It is a procedure, mathematic involved, have to be tabulated. It depending on the problem, the table may have many different tiers. Okay, later I'll show you some examples, and you will know how this table or the chart is prepared for risk management. Risk management is a methodology that helps managers make best use of their available resources. So there are many advantages, especially managing resources. If it is in a pictorial form, it is easy to capture the effect, the implication, right? The consequence can be easily understood and take an action and troubleshoot. All types of managerial things will be easier and viable if it is represented in a tabular or matrix form. It may be across resources, right? One thing, it is saving resources and avoiding losses, right? In other words, avoiding losses, making the project cost effective, time bound, right? Not dragging over the time, or addressing the issues, right? Addressing unexpected events, especially whenever risk is there, it is due to unexpected events, uncertainty. The underlying cause is mainly uncertainty, leads to a risk situation. All these things to be handled by means of proper management. Please listen to this video, just 3 minutes video.
Okay, so what we're going to do now is go through the process of writing a risk.
Moment, I'll check the voice. Okay.
Okay, so what we're going to do now is go through the process of writing a risk assessment. Just follow the graphics while I talk you through it. In starting our risk assessment, we need a template form on which to write it, such as this one. Enter the headings like this. Hazards. Risks to our health and safety are caused by hazards. If you have no hazards, then you have no risks, but that seldom happens. So then, when starting a risk assessment, we first write down all of the hazards. Now, I'm assuming that you know a great deal about the activity that you're assessing. That is, you are competent to do this. That's important. So here, we build up a list of generic hazards that cause slips and trips. That's enough hazards for this exercise, but you may think of others when you do your assessment. The object of doing a risk assessment for any activity is to reduce the risks to the health and safety of everyone affected by that activity. This includes the people doing the work, people passing by or in the immediate vicinity, or any others affected by it in some way. So, we list all of the types of people who may be affected by these hazards. We'll keep it simple and say employees and visitors will be affected by most of these, but we'll say only employees are affected by poor lighting, like so. How might these people be harmed? Let's have a look. Well, many of these may be similar right the way through. The initial risk rating is your assessment of the risks if the activity has no controls whatsoever. Okay, so what we're going to has no controls whatsoever. No tidiness, spillages not cleaned up, no training. The risks to health and safety here are all probably the same. But remember, For the elderly, for instance, the risks might be high. Now the control measures. These are the things that you think can reasonably be done to reduce the risks. After the control measures have been put in place, we can expect the risks to have been reduced. So now we list our assessment of those residual risks, like so. Hopefully they will all become low. You will see on our generic risk assessment sections for you to add your own site-specific items. We think that it is important for you to consider the hazards specific to your own work location and add these. Back to our risk assessment form. Here is an overall risk matrix. The severity of the risk is shown increasing by rising vertically. The likelihood of it occurring is shown increasing from left to right. Put an X in the box as your assessment of the overall risk before the control measures were applied. Then, put an X in a box to show your assessment of the risk after you've applied the control measures. That's really your risk assessment completed. To improve upon this document, you can help your employees in risk control by giving them much more detail about the control measures. The item numbers correspond to those on the first page. Remember to identify the people responsible. That's it. All done. Just a few important things to do. The law requires that you show the conclusions of your risk assessment to the persons affected by it. So, get them to sign and date the form to confirm that they have seen and understood it. Believe me, that's important. Then, file the signed risk assessment, but make a copy available to anyone who needs it. Then, to dot the I's and cross the T's, monitor the activity and record your monitoring. It may be that you'll need to amend your risk assessment to get it absolutely right. And that's it. Okay. So
a simple development of a risk assessment was explained to you, how they are preparing the risk assessment and what are the forms used, and end up with a risk matrix that is helpful for any manager, risk manager or project manager, to take decision at times of, especially at times of any any kind of chances of failure or accidents, unexpected events happen, right? Risk management further, the identification, analysis, assessment and control and avoidance, minimization or elimination of unacceptable risk. These are the characteristics we can say. The identification, analysis, these are the steps, right? These are the steps. And this way also you can handle the risk or manage the risk by avoiding, by minimizing, by eliminating all the unacceptable risks. The organization may use risk assumption, risk avoidance, risk retention, risk transfer or any other strategy or combination of strategy in proper management of future events. So whenever there is a problem, right, whenever there is always a money, the income, it may be due the net return of the company, the GDP of the country, or production, right, the quantity of product, the amount of production or labor or welfare of the labor. It may be of any, it may be on the resource or monetary problems, issues, or it may be health issues. In all, you may take the decisions like this. Have some assumptions saying that you're going to address the other issues. Avoid. You can try to avoid by having some alternates. You can have risk retention. you may have some time, right? You leave some time. Some of them will be in needing potential quality time to take decision, or maybe waiting for a government's approval or officials, right? It may be a hierarchy, I mean the list of people above to approve or authorize your work, your decision. All these things are maybe the this is one way that you can do it. Risk retention, give some time to solve a risk transfer, like the one I said example. You can conveniently transfer to other party at some cost, or at some benefits, either monetary or royalty, or otherwise. Okay, there are many benefits that you can extract from your own property. If you found that is giving you a risk, it is at risk, you can either transfer at cost or no cost, or at reasonable benefits on both parties. Right. In proper management, so the future events will be properly monitored, and you have overcome already the risk. So these are the methods that you can go ahead for reducing or managing or overcoming or get rid of the risk. The purpose of studying risk management: to develop the capability to identify, assess, improve, and limit risk in the management and practice of engineering through the application of concepts and tools of risk engineering. On completion, you will be able to identify hazards in an engineering project and design an appropriate risk management strategy. So, what are the advantages? If you take the advantages or the benefits of management, right? Already we've seen there are many companies, especially the companies which involves finance, must have a risk management unit. A manager or risk engineer should be there in place to handle this, and he has to be trained. At the end, the outcome of training, outcome of his duties will be expected will be he has to identify, assess, and improve and limit or control the risk that is happening to the company, happening to the community, happening to the village, wherever he is in charge. It may be a natural resource, or people, or a production, or research work, or the education, right? It may be of any responsibility or roles he is taking care. And then on completion, you will be able to identify the hazards. Yeah. Please remember those tabulation, but it is no need to follow exactly the same format, right? Either you can tabulate it, or there are different forms already prepared by ISO. Each company we have to follow, like Malaysia, they will be following SIRIM report. They have the ISO forms, starting from education system like UCSI, production company, research institutes, warehouse, whatever it may be, any type of outlet must follow the forms for their record, for their monitoring, and for taking action. Based on that forms only, based on those records only, they can take further action or solve the problem of risk of their company. So this kind of documentation have to be properly maintained to overcome the hazards. And then nowadays we have already ISO forms. I have also given in the last slide, I showed right now on this one. You please follow these for more guidelines and reading purpose, or other forms that has to be maintained for different sectors, and how it can be overcome and monitored. Risk can be overcome, and it is monitored all through the life period of the project. Sometimes have to be monitored even after that, like this pandemic issues. Right. You're not going to create a form. Forms are already there. Your duty is to record. If there's any accident, you must record it. Keep the file. Like you take a university lab accident. If there's any lab accident, project accident, you have to use the ISO form, fill up, record it, and all the parties, the managers and the risk managers, project managers have to be informed, recorded, and then decision will be passed to the client, whether he is going to, whether the insurance is provided, what kind of actions have we taken, and further it will be monitored until it is settled, right? Later when you go to the table, you will understand what are the criteria, what are the parameters that each in every project they have their own features. It is different from project to project. If it is a construction project, different; research project, different; productions, different. And then maybe a missile launching, right? It may be a satellite research, astronomical research. In every project, they should have produced these forms, recorded, followed, and then documented for future use. It is not that they produce it and like the one I said, floodplain maps. Floodplain maps are produced. They are maintained by departments. The engineers are in charge have to update it duly, maybe yearly or our GIS map, Geographical Information System. These maps are maintained almost in Malaysia, to my knowledge, 3 years. Every 3 years they update it because the geography changes, right? Today it is a forest, tomorrow it is a land, and few days later it become a condo or some other land use, right? So keep changing. That's why they will maintain it. Have to be maintained. The records should be maintained so that we will take action. I mean, it will be followed by the engineer in charge of after the followers or other juniors who is going to be appointed at that place. It is to be recorded for future use. Identify the hazards in engineering project and design. Yeah, recording is important to the past events and also be ready for facing the future events if any. Right. Overall, it has 7 steps. I keep saying manage, right? There are few terms you already studied. Put it into proper logical manner, you will have end up with 7 steps or generic guide for any organization regardless of the type, business, activity or function. For your information, I don't know, we people are living in tsunami of information. I use the word. Even more than that, informations are plenty, right? In that case, which information you have to follow, that is mandatory. That comes by learning, acquiring the skills, right? Practicing it. Sometimes you learn by practice and then by adapting. So which one to follow, which one not to follow is most important in any area of study. That is for sure. So don't think that you are given with the information you can use it, but make sure it is from authenticated source. Like you are doing project, you collect information must be from authenticated sources, not a foolproof website or data is just from the researcher who is just posting the data, asking for suggestion, opinion, and you are using that. Right? They say it has failed, but you use in your project that as though it is passed, and there is a successful project and so on. Must have very good filtering system in your eyes, in your mind, when you use this tsunami of data either online or from other sources. Okay, basic process steps are they are put into 7 steps. Like you have projects management, engineering design, all have some steps, right? Engineering design you studied about 9 steps I think until monitoring. And then coming to project, there are 5 steps you have to follow. Minimum 4, maximum 5, including the uncertainty, everything. And then coming to risk, you have 7 steps to manage. If you are following, this is a strategy. This is the strategy or steps for managing a risk. Establish the context. Identify the risk. Analyze and evaluate the risk. Treat the risk. Create elimination improvement plans. Implement the plans. Review and evaluate the plans. Right. Remember the short video I shown just to make you understand how it is done. He has shown a short video of tabulation of risk assessment, right? Risk assessment by tabulation, just by using Excel sheet, writing down all the activities, writing down all the variables, writing down the criteria and the degree or grade of the issue. How much is the consequence? The consequence are characterized by its grade, like medium, low, high, and then by color coding. Lastly, he showed a matrix with the color coding. With that color coding, they can come out with and the action plan, what has to be done, and the person in charge, when to do. With that, the problem is settled. So every plan, every risk management should end up with action plan. If no action plan, the problem is not settled. Let's see one by one. Number one, you should know, establish the context, whether it is an accident or it is going to, if the production is increased, you will be using more materials, right? The turnover, you can increase the production, eventually the net return should be managing. We cannot predict how much it will be sold and how much will be the net return. I use the word net return always, I don't say return or the income to the company. Net return is investment minus income will be net return should be improved. In that case, one have to understand thoroughly of the context. What is this product? What is the marketability, right? What is the sellability? What is the interest? What is the niche of the market? Then only can go for that product. And studies also, nowadays students, they are very much confused which area to choose. As students, starting from students, which area to choose, which area can get me. Your aim may be to earn, another one may be to lead their own company or father company or the relatives company, or the other one may be looking for starting up your own company, right? Based on the need, your target will be different. In that case, you should know what is your scope, what is your plan. Clearly understand and set your plan first. Identify your plan, identify the methods, right? Methods you are learning now, right? Mechanical engineer, you are learning mechanical engineering design, and so on. You must be thorough of the context and then identify the risk. What is going to happen in the future? Must have a knowledge on future. What are the risks? What are the negative and positive things? Maybe the risk end up with a positive ending, risk end up with negative ending. What are the risks encountered if you go for this, if you choose this area, if you get placement in this country, if you get this much salary, right? It's also important, right? Whether it's manageable to run the family, to scatter your needs or not. All these things you have to plan properly and then venture into the topic, the area that you're going to study. Then analyze and evaluate the risk. Once you can identify at least few, if not, there are so many risks, and I said risk is an uncertainty event, right? To be, we cannot exactly quantify, then it is uncertain, right? We can only predict, we can only estimate, we can only make a rough cost, a rough decision, tentative decision. In that case, you have at least quantified, identified some of them, not if not all. And this is the background. This is paying the, this is providing the base for identifying the risk. This is the base, this is the background. If this is strong, you can identify this and then try to evaluate how much. And once you know it is very hard to study history subject, then quantify how much percentage it is hard. 20%, 30%, 100%, then you avoid this and go for choosing another area. If you want to become archaeologist, you must be good in history, right? You decided to become an archaeologist, right? That is your content. But when you come here, you quantify that history, how much interest you have in history, you estimated, and the risk is 100%. I cannot study, it's very hard. Then you go back and redesign your aim, something like that. So you must have a quantification here, some percentage, in terms of percentage or number or the grades. You must be having the tabulation to analyze and then treat the risk. Try to, once you get the matrix of green, yellow, blue, green, yellow and red, try to minimize the red areas. Try to minimize most of the red and yellow areas, moving towards green areas by treating these options that just now we read. You can minimize, right? This one, managing skills, by retention, by avoidance, by transfer, by assumption, you can minimize it. Try to minimize the risk so that your final risk will be less. And then create elimination and improvement plan. When you create elimination, you must have a contingency plans to face this so that it is reduced. And then implement the plan, review and evaluate or monitor the plan. With that, the risk can be overcome, right? We already defined what is risk. Risk is the impact times likelihood, or the chances of failure times the consequence. Chances of severity to the value. Severity or dangers to the impact. One example of during COVID-19 last year, we got this table. They quantify the risk. So our crisis was COVID-19, right? How this is going to spread? What is the risk? Every individual must know the risk of its spread. Then they come out with this type of matrix. This is one type of matrix. As I said before, green is safe. So going down in this way is increasing the risk, increasing the impact, increasing the consequence. Less consequence, more the worst consequence. If you go for attending large music concert, going to a sports stadium, getting together, and then very less is moderate. Moderate one is going to beach, anyway you are spread out, and then playing golf, right? Or away, the players are away, and then pumping gasoline, you're going to petrol, right? Petrol station, playing tennis. All these things are relatively less risk because of the nature of the work. So please understand how this is tabulated. This table is actually a reverse of the usual way. Normally we have in this horizontal way, now it's a vertical column. All the grades are here, all the activities are here, and the numbers, the quantification. This is the quantification is here. They identify, right? They characterize this one. They clearly found out the meaning and then group them and then quantified, so you can easily picturize which activities was having more risk, less risk, and moderate risk, right? And then next table is actually I plan to give one more table, but I am sorry I couldn't bring it here. Why this is coming out, right? This table, there is another table. I try to put it in your slide later on. It's so interesting and easily understood for you. But let us go through this slide. This is one of the matrix, risk management matrix or risk chart that is produced in a company where it's a construction company. Okay, consider the likelihood of a hazardous events occurring in a construction company. This is one of the example of uh, risk matrix. They build between the severity and the likelihood. Okay, this is the chance, this is the consequence. Chance and the consequence, right? How do they classify? The chances are very likely, unlikely, possibly, likely, and very likely. Okay, all unlikely, not to happen, may happen, possible happen, right? Don't not happen, mean will happen and surely happens. Okay, and then the grades they use are low, moderate, and high, even critical. High, critical. So the grade is like this. And these are the events. What are the events? The main objective of preparing this risk matrix is what are the events and how much is the risk. What are the events? And this is the grade, and this is the value. Value in terms of, or quantification in terms of words or qualitative analysis. Sometimes these are replaced by percentage, right? 20%, 30%, up to 100%. 100% here at the top right corner will be 100% high, catastrophic, fatal, to the extent of fatal, it is fatal, and also must happen. If it happen, that is a fatal. On the other hand, the lowest one, superficial, no treatment required, just supervision and so on, will are less likely to get into accidents, and so it is safer. No need to address any issues here, but have always, in the engineers at site must always be careful on this. Try to bring it down to this one and try to bring these grades to green. With that you are safe. You don't have to look into this one or rework on this. So they have classified the activities as catastrophic, major, moderate, minor, and superficial. Meaning no treatment required. If there's any accident happen at the site, falling from tower, falling from crane, falling from height, or quite often in construction industry. Almost in one seminar they told me, they presented every hour one death. Not even every hour, I forgot on the minute they said. Every in the globally, I think every minute I think. I don't remember. Between minute to hour, let it be. But every hour, one death globally it is happening, mainly because of falling from height. But nowadays I cannot give this code because pandemic time, most of the construction works are off. But this is the dangerous and first accidents, first fatal, serious fatal in the globe. Almost every hour or every day there is a fatal accident due to construction. To avoid this, you must have a matrix like this, whether he has a properly at time in the risk of going, risk of attending, and then the safety officer in charge must check for his attire, PPE, whether he is properly wearing, fix, and so on. Right. These are the courses that you can follow for more readings and learning. Uh, this one is for management guideline, and this one is for the electrical engineers. For the electrical engineers, mainly they are also next to construction, electrical engineer, and this is also in construction where the accidents are quite often due to broken wire, right, and sparking wire, or miscarrying, misleading, mismanagement of the electrical appliances at the site or during construction, and so on. All these things can be studied from this code IEC 31010 in 2019, publication in 2019, risk assessment techniques, publication by International Electrical Commission, Electro Technical Commission. Like this you have for all chemical engineer, civil engineer, they have their own publication. If you go here, you can have categories. I stop here. Any question you can ask me. You can now, if you have any project questions, you can ask me. If not, you can leave. You can do your project work. But please submit without fail on 13. We have to get our schedule ready so that we can run the project presentation by week 12. I don't use any quizzes today. We'll do it next class. But use this time to clarify your questions, finalize your project report. Try to submit it by today or before 13. I start with the first meeting. Anybody? Nobody written the chat box? Can I please have a meeting with you, Miss Group 7 Wong? Okay, now I call the group Wong Zi Mia. I go to the personal message. I call him and settle this matter. If anybody wants, please write down in the chat box. I will attend one by one right from now. I stop here for class today. Any question?